Yes, everyone. Hi, this is Dr. Canada again. We have part 2 for Mr. Charles Hughes for this episode. So I hope you enjoy. And let me just defer to your situation. I want you to give, since you were an athlete, quote unquote, in schools, what's your thoughts about the role of, you mentioned about education and how the females were, the ones who may have been, quote, smart or educated. And what's your thought about the athlete, like especially for Black males, the athlete, and they never talk about the Black males as much who may not be non-athletes, who may be like people who have other interests in like engineering or computer science or, or any other academic subject. What's your thoughts about that?
Okay, here are my thoughts, because I've had to deal with this on many occasions. I do not juxtapose sports against academics. I think they go together because I think there are lessons to be learned with each. Now, do I advocate when I go and speak to young people at schools or whatever, do I go and say, hey, I played football and basketball. I want all you guys to try to be the best football and basketball player you could be? No. What I suggest to them is if you participate in an extracurricular activity, make sure that you are a student athlete, because there's like a 1.1% of anybody, Black, white, you name it, that play professional sports or whatever the case might be. Now, if sports is going to help you get a scholarship into college, and you coming from a challenged environment, your folks don't have much money or whatever, and that's just another opportunity.
Right.
I did a thing called the Midnight Basketball in Garrett.
What's
for
that?
A long time. It was a program designed for the most average behavior, the gangbangers or whatever, because everybody focuses on, we're gonna do it. We're working with students or whatever, and everybody's always working with the honor students or the kids from the 2-parent families. So Midnight Basketball, we decided to work with those who may catch you at the gas station late at night and put you in a compromising position, opening out, selling poison or whatever. So between 18 and 26, that's the age of which most of those young men are, because if they didn't do anything in school, what are they going to do? They're going to steal, or they're going to
run.
They're going to do something. So the age of 18 to 26. The time was 9 o'clock at night to 2 in the morning. Why? Because, crime comes out at night. You do it in the dark. So that's the optimum time that you're likely to either be assaulted or something happen, cost, or whatever the case might be. And so we had about 90 to 100 of those type young men in our program actually playing. But then if you get their friends, and I hate to say it, some of the young ladies were just as bad. So if you get some of them to come and attend the games, then you might have 200-300 people of that particular ilk off the streets at the optimum time in which they would actually be doing what they're doing. Here's the other thing too. I emphasize to them that I am not doing an adult recreation program. I am trying to intervene, whereas you may have made missteps in your life to prevent you from being whatever. Here's what it consists of. From 9 o'clock at night to 10 o'clock at night. I don't care if the individual's game was at 1 o'clock in the morning. You were there in the gymnasium, was seated on a bench, and a person such as yourself would come in and give them a quality of life presentation. We talked about getting your GED. We talked about character, behavior. I told them if any of them were arrested for any reason, you were out the league. You know what appealed to them?
Why?
It was fashion like the NBA. We had the Brewers, we had the Celtics, we had the Lakers. I had sponsors. They had the uniforms. Our local cable television program did a midnight basketball game of the week. So imagine some guys who had some abilities, I could have done this or that. Well, guess what? With a second chance through the Midnight Basketball League, he could be sitting on his couch with his kid in his arm, and and look at daddy dunk this basketball or daddy scored this basket or whatever it might be. And the other thing too is when we brought those people in to speak from this quality of life perspective, we indicated to them, they say, Chuck, how are you going to get all of these notable people to come in? Well, guess what? A successful person, it clearly, my definition was someone who obeyed the law, took care of their families, and was gainfully employed. So yes, to your question, I had electrical engineers come in and tell these young men, man, you can learn this trade. You can buy a house, 2 cars, 6 kids to college, that kind of thing. So it transcends well beyond the sports. Now, having said that, I will pat myself on the back. About 10 young men who otherwise would have been out perpetrating problems, causing trouble to get college scholarships to play basketball. But we also had some others who went off and did other things in other situations and changed their lives around. So it was a wonderful program. I did it for like 18 or 19 years. I didn't stop doing it because I had to run for office. I was elected official. But even today, I can identify young people who had an indelible impact on their lives in the midnight basketball.
So that gave them some way to, but see, that's what I'm asking. What do you suggest now, having been through this experience yourself in Gary and what, the obstacles that you've taken place, and you said what happened, when students, parents moved out of the area or things, and the significant thing you mentioned was when they took down the 2 housing developments. That was huge. Okay. Then it reminded me of how if you look at the historical things of particularly Black communities, how they would build highways. It happened in most cities. They built highways and cut through communities. What's your thoughts about that?
Well, that happened in Gary.
It did. Yeah. See, so it's like everywhere, right?
It wasn't through the heart of the community, but it actually is it's a national highways, Interstate 80. 94, it runs right through Gary. Here's the deal. The thing about it, as I said before, it was just, I guess, a mindset change, the dispersal of that common unit of all of these Black intellectuals and all of these students and parents geared toward excellence learning. We're going to show them that in spite of the situation, the environment they put us in, we're going to be better. We're going to excel. And that kind of catapulted a lot of people into a great area. So here's the thing about Gary, too. A lot of people just, they think about Gary, Indiana, and the first thing they think about is it was a predominantly Black city. Gary, Indiana, 1 year in its existence. Gary was founded in 1906. In its existence, 1 year, Gary had the dubious distinction of being per capita labeled the murder capital.
Really?
1 year. Okay. What happened was that was during that height of that drug situation. Had a couple of rival drug gangs, and the guys were literally killing each other. They wasn't killing young kids. They wasn't killing each other. So per capita size of the city, Gary, Indiana. Now, being a Black city, that moniker has stuck even to today. Now, let me say this to you. If you research it and you Google it, the murder capital almost perennially has been cities like New Orleans, parts of California, but people are not, they still gonna go down there to New Orleans and Vegas and parts of New York. I hate to say it, in my own state, Indianapolis, our capital, where all the Pacers and the Colts are, they're worse, 100 times worse than Gary. Anybody in Indiana will tell you that. But we are a predominantly Black city, and people want to have that stigma. Is hard to shake. But I appreciate opportunities like this. If I don't change anybody's mind, at least they're going to know.
Well, that's the thing, exposure and educating people. This is the whole point about variety of issues. And I think that's significant because most people, well, I guess a certain generation of people, most people generationally, I guess basically in the 60s and 70s, what they know about Gary, Indiana is a Jackson 5. Okay. That's what they know about Jackson 5.
Well, you know what? Now that you bring that up, we're very proud of the fact. Let me put it this way. The place couldn't be all that bad if you're able to cultivate and bring a family such as that out of Gary. But it's interesting. I'll mention some people from Gary, and maybe young people like you may not be able to know some of these folks, but I'm just gonna just throw some names out there, and people are gonna say, "Wow, man, they're from Gary."
Tell us. I want
All
people
right,
to know.
all right, all right. Let's try one of the first astronauts, Frank Borman from Gary, Indiana. In fact, our expressway, the segment of the expressway that runs through Gary, Hamilton, Chicago, East City, is called the Borman Expressway.
And that's after him.
All right.
Okay.
This guy was a former NFL football great. Played on the first Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl team. Retired from the NFL. Went into movies, producing, acting. A prolific producer. A guy by the name of Fred the Hammer Williams.
Oh yes.
From Gary, Indiana.
Oh.
Then let's talk about a young lady who was one of the most prominent singers around, won numerous Grammys, great singer. In fact, even back in the day, appeared with Johnny Mathis on the Ed Sullivan Show. How about Denise Williams?
Denise Williams is from Gary, Indiana?
He grew up right behind me, from Gary, Indiana. All right, let me give you some more. How about
okay, folks, listen to it. I hope you're taking note. My people listening. Take a note, people.
Like my pastor say, I'm just trying to help somebody.
But that's great. This is what people need to know.
Absolutely. All right. How many of you watched and I'll say it again, you too young, but people that
I'm an old school. I'm an old school person.
Okay, let me say this. remember the show Special for Hire with us?
Yes.
I remember the guy Hulk, the ball.
Yes.
He also starred as Captain Sisko on Star Trek. Avery Brooks. He's from Gary, Indiana.
Oh,
his mother was my music teacher at Gary Roosevelt. Avery and I graduated together. Yeah, the man called Hulk. Avery Brooks. All right, let me give you another one. Did you remember the show Webster with the little boy and his parents?
You're right.
Right. His mom was Susan George, the actress. His dad was Alex Karras. Alex Karras is a Hall of Fame NFL football player. Alex Karras was the father. Alex Karras, do you remember the movie Blazing Saddles?
Yes.
And the guy that punched the horse, Mongo or whatever?
I remember. Okay, I can visualize, but yeah.
That's Alex Karras from Gary, Indiana. Webster's father from Gary, Indiana. Remember the show What's Happening? With Rod, the rerun and all those?
Right.
Ernest Thomas, the guy that wore the glasses?
Yes.
One of our best friends.
Gary also?
Gary, Indiana. Okay.
Oh, that was the nerd guy. Okay.
Yeah, Raj. Gary, Indiana.
Oh my God.
Did you watch Spike Lee's movie, She's Gotta Have It?
Yes, of course.
Okay, the three guys there, whatever. And then the guy who's the preacher in the Malcolm X movie, Tommy Hicks from Gary. We were just together over the weekend. So I can go on and on. Glenn Big Dog Robinson, the top pick in the NBA draft. Gary, yeah.
Which one is that?
His name was Glenn Robinson. They called him Glenn Big Dog Robinson. All right, let me give you another one. The New York Knicks have won 2 world championships in their existence. Okay. And the starters on that team were...
Wait. Give me, because I'm probably going to know because I'm a basketball person. Go ahead, keep going.
All right. Willis Reed.
Yes.
Dave DeBusschere.
Yes.
Senator Bill Bradley.
Right.
Walt Frazier.
Yes.
Dick Barnett.
Yes.
Dick Barnett is from Gary, Indiana. I'll give you another one. Now I'm really...
he just passed away. Yeah, Dick Barnett.
Just passed away.
With his special shooting, with his kickback shooting.
Crossback baby.
That's right, kickback.
Hey, everybody, you know what high school he attended? And Avery Brooks, Gary Roosevelt.
That's a Roosevelt graduate?
Google Dick Barnett graduated Roosevelt. In fact, I was very involved. I'll give you now. I mentioned Walt Frazier, right?
Right.
Didn't I tell you I went to Southern Illinois University?
He did too.
I played 1 year with Walt Frazier. And Walt Frazier was backcourt with Dick Barnett. Listen, it all comes full circle, sweetheart. If you ever been to Walt, tell him you met Chuck Hughes.
I saw him once at the airport. I said, some people said, that's Walt. I said, matter of fact, he lives in Harlem. I heard he lives in Harlem. That's what I heard. He lives. My brother said, "Oh, he lives in Harlem." I said, "Somebody said he lives in Harlem." I said, "Really?" I said, "Yeah." I said,
You ever
"Okay."
run into him again? Tell him you met Chuck Hughes.
I will definitely. Well, I don't know if I'll run into him. Of course, now things are different now. Like back in the day, you would run into people like that, but now it's a little difficult. But this is amazing. This is so enlightening. This is so educational.
That's just some of the people. I just mentioned
But see, my question to you then is this.
some of the notables that people would be able to recognize.
But my question.
I've got one more. Remember the Streets of San Francisco? The show with Carl Malden and Michael Douglas.
I remember this is the show. I know the name of the show. I don't think
Well, anyway, Carl Malden was the big nose actor. He's from Gary, Indiana. So, all right. That's
all these people, all these people. But see, this is what I'm saying. That was then. There's none of that's happening now. And that's the ironic thing. Okay. What can we do so that we can produce people like that now coming from our communities? What's the concern? That's my concern right now, because I don't see that happening in the educational system. Like I said, I attended a high school in New York City, was known for its basketball. It was well known, but they didn't have but they were well known for their basketball. That's probably why I went to the school in the first place, because I love basketball. But the point is, I'm saying you don't see, and also they had more Black males in the schools as opposed to where schools I attended previously. And I wanted to make sure I could see some really smart brothers and the athletic brothers, both in the same school. Okay. That was very rare up to that point. And I'm just saying that's what I needed. I needed at that point for myself to see that existed, because that was not something that we saw often, especially with Black males. And that's why I said there's a difference. The Black females, we can they would like kind of tolerate us. But I know it was more challenging in the school systems of New York City back in the day for Black men. Not that it's any better now, to be honest with you, but still, I'm just saying to you, there were excellence, like you talked about, from the schools that you attended and who came out of Roosevelt High School. That's not happening now. Can you give me some idea of what you think can be done to reconciliate or modify that we can have those same kind of principles that you experienced and that gave you the foundation for you to become what you became now?
In my opinion, we have lost a holistic effect. Remember when I told you that I don't juxtapose sports and academics? They all go together. There's a reason why there's sports and the choral club and the glee club and whatever in schools, because people have to be well-rounded. You just made a point. You attended a school because you love sports. Why do you think a lot of people want to go to Duke or Notre Dame or whatever? Because they want to say, hey, my team won this, won that. It's almost a Pied Piper effect. You get people there, and then same thing I did with midnight basketball. Those young guys that I attracted from 9 o'clock at night, 2 in the morning, you try to get them. You try to say, hey, I want you guys to show up at 9 o'clock at night, stay till 2, and I'm going to talk to you about quality of life. You'll be there by yourself. But if you put a Bulls or Lakers or New York Knicks uniform on them and get them to play and have a game of the week or whatever, listen, I could control them. Listen, they defied all authority. Those guys, they don't fear the police. They've probably been in the system a lot of that.
That's true. That's true.
What? If I told them you get arrested or you come late or you get a fight on the court and you've gone and man, I can't play in the league. So my point is we've lost that holistic effect. And not all, but a lot of parents are to blame. We have a different caliber of parent. Our parents who are smoking and drinking and partying and doing whatever with their kids and allowing their kids. And I'm gonna be honest. I mean, I'm not here to beat up parents, but I can recall situations, man, where I've seen parents get out of the car and little babies in the car. UMFs better not bring UMF.
That's right. That's true.
I cringe. I can't say anything, but that's the same parent as opposed to knowing the detriment that they're doing to that child. They maybe want to shoot me. So it's a different thing. Where my neighbors, if I was down there acting a fool, Mrs. Taylor would come out of her house and she'd have her belt or her stick switch with her and go on and tell your mama that I whipped her behind. And you know what I would do? I was down there to the food Miss Taylor got me, and I had to go out there and get a switch then. So that's double time. But you know,
Right.
so I'm saying we've lost that holistic effect.
But can you give me any indication? Think about this. Can you give me indication what you sense what made a difference then as opposed to what you're describing now, what may be happening to young people?
What made a difference there?
Yes. What happened then? Back then when you were growing up.
Well, back then when I was growing up, as I said before, we didn't all come from two-parent families. A lot of us did, but not all of us.
That's right.
But
That's right.
our parents are mostly migrating from the South
There you go.
and looking for opportunity.
Thank
Man,
you.
they were going to those steel mills, man, and
That's right.
knew that they had to go in there and work in those steel mills. Didn't matter how hot the blast furnaces was or whatever, but they knew they could go in there and make a living and provide for their families.
Right.
And put one in there and put in that kind of work, you darn sure wasn't going to go to school in actual.
Thank you.
So it kind of transferred down. You know, it was a trickle down effect. The teachers could teach. They didn't have to worry about being referees and
Right, disciplinary. Right.
none of that stuff, because they know when little Johnny came, all they had to do was say, "Look, I'll call Miss Smith."
That's right.
And I gotta admit, man, I gotta miss my shift going to work to come up there because you after the bull would not happen. So then you had those things in place. You had those guardrails.
Right.
Now, as I said before,
No.
and I ain't knocking rap music, but whatever. We got a culture now that anything goes. You know, it's all freelance, and that goes for the kids too. These kids listen, man. I used to sneak. We used to sneak and hide under a tree, out of sight, in the weeds, and look at the Playboy magazine centerfold. Now these kids got smartphones, and they're smarter
right in front of their face, right?
it's smarter than I am with the phone.
Right.
And I mean, they see stuff that would even make me cringe at my age right now. And then they're not getting any guidance relative to what's proper, what's not proper, and the stuff they listen to. And I tell you, it's a daunting task to try to you just try to do. My philosophy is this, because I still mentor young people, and I work, and I try to help where I can. My philosophy is I don't have an S on my chest. I can't save the world, but if I can make a difference with some, that's what I do, and I have, and so I get some degree of satisfaction from that.
Well, Mr. Hughes, I'm not going to keep too much time. You know, thank you so much for sharing this information and your experiences. I think it's wonderful. People need to hear. This is one of the reasons why I wanted to do the podcast, to educate people in a different way and the different ways of educating. And I wanted to, if you can just give us a summary of what your thoughts are for the future, for the society as a whole, and also coming out of Gary, Indiana. What do you foresee happening that would make a difference moving forward? Anything to put closing words to that?
Yeah, I'll say this about Gary, Indiana. We're not a secret anymore. We're like 20 miles from Chicago. There are people that come visit me, and I take them to the beach or whatever. Gary's got a beach. I guess a black city. We're not supposed to have a beach. Places like Atlanta and other places would die to have. We were at Lake Michigan, geography. The same beach that Chicago has,
Right.
and Michigan and Detroit and all that. We have one of the Great Lakes. We have a beautiful beach here. We're near Chicago, one of the largest thriving metropolis in the city.
Right.
We have an airport that we're developing. We have things, and see, here's the deal too. I mentioned that the population has declined, but the territory hasn't declined. Gary, from a territorial perspective, is the second largest city in the state of Indiana, second only to Indianapolis.
Indianapolis, okay.
Capital city. And so, because we've had abandoned buildings, because we've had people move out or whatever, now prognosticators, investors, developers, they're looking at Gary now. We've got white people coming into the inner city, buying houses, whatever. And for them, that was part of a white flight early on.
Right.
Come back and looking to buy properties in the inner city.
Right.
There's something in the tea leaves there. So,
okay.
Yeah. So moving forward in the future, I think sometimes we have to look at we have to turn the negatives into positive. Listen, I'm not being political in this because I'm the Chamber of Commerce. Of course, I have my views like everybody else on things, but I don't do politics because I run a business organization. You can be Republican, Democrat,
Mhm.
believe in a higher authority. You can be atheist if you want to. My thing is business. And so I keep it that way. But I will say this. If we look at the climate that's in our country right now and the changing of a lot of things, it's not just affecting Black people. I think what's going to help us and change is that universally people are being affected. And now, for the first time ever, it's not just Black people out with Black power fists and appearing to be angry. Now everybody is out there because people are being affected for better or for worse. I'm not going to be
Right.
but everybody's being affected now.
Right.
And you know how that old expression sometimes adversity brings about, assimilation or whatever the case might be. It's different when we're all in this together. And so that might be a positive from a negative, which might hopefully, prayerfully, bode for a better future that's going to help the generations that's after us.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Well, Mr. Hughes, thank you so much for your words of wisdom, your knowledge, and sharing this with the audience. This is why I want to do this, because I want people to know. And I thank you for taking the time out of your full day of sharing this information with us. And it's so great meeting you. And I look forward to seeing you. I'll have to travel to Gary to see you, right?
Absolutely. Well, you're welcome. Sorry, I'm a person of few words.
This has been a wonderful experience. I'm really looking forward to meeting you personally.
Well, let me say this now. They're having a big celebration. Really, one of the first of its kind. The end of August, the end of August, around the 30th or whatever, around Michael Jackson's birthday. It's his birthday car.
Oh.
Well, the city is hosting a real big event. I can see it on social media, with Facebook, on the internet, where they're bringing in celebrities. Chris Tucker is coming in, the MC, and some other folks are coming in, a couple of the Jackson brothers and whatever. So they've got a 3-day thing that's planned. And so I guess everything is all geared toward, trying to have a rebirth, a renaissance.
Right.
You can only build a house one brick at a time. So we're trying to be proactive. We're trying to get some things done. So thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity. Always a chance to share. And you're doing an incredible job. It's a great service that you're providing, because
Thank you.
people need to know the story.
Yes. They need to hear it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Okay, same here. All right, thank you so much. And folks, thank you for listening and setting in to another podcast episode of the Silk Stocking Sisters. And we'll see you next time. Have a great day, everyone. Bye now.